Triple Threat Media is a New Orleans-based production company that documents the humanity of multi-hyphenates in the arts and entertainment industries. They produce everything from music videos to live and virtual events, reels, commercials, and podcasts. The people behind Triple Threat Media are the most smart, multi-talented, and humble professionals in the greater New Orleans area who love and honor the art of storytelling. How do I know this? Well, Triple Threat Media is my company. If you've been following my artistic journey over the last 18 years, you know it's always involved some type of multimedia production. All of that seasoning has put me in community with the best industry professionals in this area who are ready to serve you in your next media project. Also, with every transaction, Triple Threat Media shares a cut of their earnings to directly support the sustainability and economic empowerment of New Orleans artists. When you book our services, you are helping individuals in those communities keep their lights on, tap into their creative aspirations, and level up their entrepreneurial ambitions. For more info and to book our services, visit triplethreatmedia.net. Happy New Year, everybody! You are in 2024.
That's right.
And I'm J.Mix still, and I'm the podcast host of the Software Millennial, which you are now listening to. I'm multi-hyphenate performing artist still, and I do a whole lots of things. But what we're going to be talking about today is something that surprisingly I have not talked about in a very long time. I may have mentioned it towards the beginning of the podcast, but that I had like a big, Barney the dinosaur was a big influence in my life and has kind of paved the way. The Software Millennial would not exist without Barney the dinosaur. And y'all about to find out why. And I have Steven Schwartz with me today so we can kind of chat about that. And although, as you were telling me, you were like, you don't know all the big facts about Barney, which is fine.
I mean, I'm not a Barney connoisseur per se, or a specialist. I didn't major in Barney.
A Barney specialist.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I mean, I did watch Barney as a young child.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I know.
I did too, and
we start the same year, 88.
Yeah.
The same number.
The episode is 88, and that was not intentional, y'all. We're gonna go a little bit into the facts about Barney before. Sure. But before that, I want to start with our In the Mix announcements for the new year because we had a lot coming up. First things first, Steven and I are going to be doing a show at Rivertown Theaters from January 12th through January 28th.
I think 8th. Yeah, that last Sunday.
Yeah.
It's basically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and one Thursday the whole month.
Yes.
The final Thursday.
So if y'all want to go to the Kenner and come see us.
Rivertown,
which is in Kenner.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be there. I'll be singing with the BZ Babes. Steven's going to be music directing all of us. And it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then this is an announcement because no one knows about this yet until now. Pat Smith and I are going to be hosting a new show at the Always Lounge called Multi-Hyphenate Mondays. It's going to be extremely fun. We're starting January 23rd, which is the third Monday in January. And we will be featuring all of our talented multi-hyphenate friends, but we're going to be featuring them in ways that you may not be familiar with because it's one of their more hidden talents. Or let's say, for example, you may know someone as a comedian, but didn't realize, they can also sing. We would feature them as a singer. And then...
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that they're not as well known for, bring that
are just as good. They're just as good, but they're just as good with their other talent. Because we want to be able to showcase just their all of their traits, but also each episode. Sorry, not each episode. I'm still in podcast mode. Each show will also feature not just one artist, two multi-hyphenate artists, and then at the end of the show, they will be featured as their actual main practice
their primary subject of renown,
Exactly. So that's going to be happening. We're starting that January 23rd, which is the third Monday in January, and then we're running every first and third Monday in January at like, I think it starts at 7 p.m.
You mean from that point on?
Yeah, from that point on. Sorry, yes.
Monthly. Yes,
yes.
Okay.
Monthly, starting January 23rd, first and third Mondays every month.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited. This is gonna be really great. Like
at the Always Lounge. Always Lounge.
At the Always Lounge. Yeah, I think it's gonna be in the main room. I don't remember right at the moment, but and also, I mean, Pat and I will also be just showing off all of our different talents that we do, but it's not going to be about us. It's really going to be about everybody else that's going to be invited.
Do you have your first guests already?
We do. Can you announce? I can't announce.
Okay.
I can't announce because it's not confirmed.
Okay, gotcha.
Confirmed.
Well, I'll have to ask after the show.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and what else do we have? Oh, duh. Pat's also in the Rivertown show. So.
With us?
Yes.
What?
You don't know Pat because Pat started. He's just starting. Like, this is gonna be his premiere as a Big Easy Boy.
Oh, he's the one who auditioned. He's the new member. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know Pat. That's great. Oh, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. He's taking Rich's place.
Technically not. One of the boys are going to move down to Rich's part because one of the parts that they're at right now were a little too high.
Okay.
So Pat will take that part.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
No, I got you. I understand.
So, yeah.
But I see what you mean now.
But you'll see, like, Pat's great. Y'all gonna love him.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm excited to meet him. I had no idea. Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, I know. I could talk about Pat all day, but we're just gonna get Pat onto the podcast.
Sure.
And then the last thing I want to announce is that the So Far Millennial, we're approaching 100 episodes. I mean, we're still on 88, so we got 12 more, but it goes by quickly. And the way that we be trying to plan ahead, by the time we're in the ahead moment, like, we'll be in the 100 episodes. So if you have anything that you want us to cover for that 100th episode, now is the time to email us to just let us know, hey, I think this would be a great episode, or whatever it is. I don't care what it is. I mean, I will talk about literally anything. And y'all looking at me like, anything? I'm like, yeah.
Sesame Street.
Barney, I can talk about Sesame Street. Yeah, I can talk about Sesame Street. I'm telling you, like, nothing is off limits. So, keep that in mind. Let's get to the next part.
Sure.
We have a local podcast shout out. I've been doing this every episode, except for the last one, because the last episode was a little heavy, and I want to have to do a local podcast shout out during it. But I don't know if you checked, but like, I shout out your podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. But this time we're going to shout out Between the Bites podcast by Nina Compton and Larry Miller. They used to be my bosses because I used to work at Compare La Pen, which is one of the really well-known restaurants here in New Orleans. It's been open for about, 7-8 years now. But it's run by Nina Compton, who originally is from St. Lucia. She's kind of taken all of her... It's kind of a mixture of St. Lucian food meets New Orleans cuisine. It's really good. But they are now doing a podcast where they bring on like other chefs in New Orleans and like bartenders and just well-known influencers in New Orleans. And they just kind of talk and like, it's, a Between the Bites conversation.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I know. It's really cute.
Oh, that's cool.
So I just wanted to shout them out. Shout out my old bosses, Lana. What in the world? That kind of works. It kind of works. Larry and Nina, but like Lana, that kind of works.
I guess they're like a celebrity couple.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they've gotten that before. Now this is where we like officially introduce you.
Steven. Cool. I've been talking for a while. Yeah.
I know. But now they're like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So I'll go a little bit into how I know Steven, which hasn't actually been that long. But funnily enough, the last show that we did, which was the same show we're doing in January, but we did it back in September for like one weekend. That's where I met you, and I knew you were the music director. Did you take over for Ainsley?
Yeah, basically, yes.
Okay, cool. Ainsley
Ainsley Maddock we're talking about. He's been on my podcast, so everyone check out that episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I listened to that one.
Yeah, she's awesome. She, I guess, was kind of bowing out of the music director position for the Big Easy Boys after, a number of years of doing it. And I'd been doing saxophone with Big Easy Boys prior to that, actually. And I obviously play piano, and I do music directing in other capacities. So I guess Rich, she recommended that I be that person. So Rich was like, okay, and then it ended up being a nice fit. So,
yeah, you did great, and that's. Thanks. I mean, so what year was that? Did you actually like switched over?
I think 2019. It was definitely before the pandemic. Because I did a Christmas show in I think Lafayette with them or something. Mm-hmm. There was a travel date, and I think there was one or two before that, like some one-offs that I did, and then COVID hit. So I think I did a few before, and then as we got back on our feet during COVID, since then. So I've been doing the past couple of years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, I hadn't done Big Easy Girls, Babes since like 2015, 2016. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it had been a minute. So like...
Well, you might have been on... No, your sister was definitely on some of the shows that I played sax on, I guess. I don't know if our paths had ever crossed.
I don't think so. I can normally remember faces. Mm-hmm. And I remembered some of the... I don't remember like actually today. I only remember like one person when we did it back in September. But all in all, Steven Schwartz, you are a kind of like just a musician that does a lot of things. And I think I always appreciate a musician or anybody within the arts and entertainment world that also has a podcast. Because then I'm like, okay, you're going to be in my pod forever. Because I feel like there's just certain things that you're going to understand that like maybe not everyone's going to understand about even just the podcasting world.
Sure.
You're also really good at keeping a conversation going, I found, when I'm listening to podcasts. When I'm listening to your podcast. He hosts his Crooked Conversations, which is, I find that the podcast is more like, you kind of like shooting the shit about the music industry.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Long form conversation, primarily about the music industry, but also, I mean, I love diving down any path with anybody. I mean, we'll go from like heavy philosophy and religion to politics to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. I just like talking to people, and just everyone is a multifaceted person, not just multi-hyphenate, but multifaceted. Everyone has a whole universe within them of thoughts and emotions and interests. So just because we're involved in the music scene doesn't necessarily mean that we are monoliths in those scenes, and that's all we care about. And many things that are really intriguing.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people in the industry are incredibly intelligent people and creative. So they have many, paths that we can talk about. So that's what I think. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and you say that, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Everybody is really kind of sort of multifaceted in some way. And I think my issue, and I think all of our issue, is that sometimes, we see the person in one light, because that's just how you met them. But I mean, I can think about even like the time. It's kind of like when you go to when you're in school with your teacher randomly, and then like you randomly see them out and about, like I don't know, at a festival, or, and it's like, whoa, this is weird. I only know you for school.
This one thing, yeah. Like, what are you doing at the movie theaters or something?
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing living?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Having a life.
I thought you just went in the closet at the end of the day, and it's like came back out like a robot.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. So I'm sorry. Did I kind of say everything that...
Would you consider me a multi-hyphenate?
I mean, I don't know you all that well, but from what I've seen, it feels like you are. Mm-hmm. Like you helped me set up the microphones just now, but I was just like, well, you're a musician. Why would you not know how to set up the microphone?
Well, I had to send you a bio of max 200 characters, so which was funny, but yeah. I'm a musician, obviously. Guitar, saxophone, piano. I teach all those things. I also teach them clarinet, private lessons. I do a podcast. I am a publisher. I'm a band director, band leader too, for the Crooked Vines, and that's where Crooked Conversations and Crooked Publishing Worldwide, my publishing company, and Crooked Productions and all those things come from.
Crooked.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a funny umbrella for it all to exist under. I mean, it's all within the music realm, but.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I would consider that my multi-hyphenate.
That was good. I'm glad to be on that.
Welcome to the club.
Yay.
But okay, cool. We kind of know what you do. Mm-hmm. Do you want to dive in a little bit more about Crooked Conversations and maybe some of your most memorable episodes that you've done? Or maybe a conversation that you
No, I absolutely. Well, it's been a little over a year. It's been 1 year since so it's been a little over about a year and a half now. Numbered episodes, we're almost at number 50, but there's like over 60 because I have a bunch of like bonus, or what I've been doing lately is taking it to venues and festivals. So we have like at the station, Carrollton Station, we I say we because my friend Colton Gray, who runs Flipcar Marketing, he and I kind of partnered. We've been friends for many, many years, and he kind of partnered together so that he was doing like video components, and I was doing the audio. So we talked with Jason Neville and Lorette Neville when their album release came out. Hit him with the boogie. I guess it was a single release with George Clinton that came out, and they did that at Carrollton Station. So we did like a short form interview conversation type of thing. It was pretty cool. And then there's we went to Wild Things family reunion the other week, and so one of those has come out with Mark Parody, who's from Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes. He's the leader of that band. He puts on that festival. We also went to Fête de Void a little bit back, and that was a wild weekend. We camped out, so we might be bringing it to some other festivals coming up, and so those turn into like little series.
Yeah,
and then I have these other episodes.
That's a very easy way to just like get extra content.
It is, yeah.
It just takes time.
And they're shorter. These ones are more like 10 to 15 minutes or something. But the main episodes that I've had are 2 hours, hour and a half to 2.5. Alfred Banks from, Alfred Banks and Sex Kicks Ave and Global Warming. I think he had the longest. We were 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I think I listened to that whole thing though. It was like back and forth. So
he's fascinating. Yeah, he's awesome. That was I really enjoyed that, and I was lucky to talk with him and Albert Allenbeck at Fête de Void. Yeah, that was a late Friday night. I don't know, whatever. I'd been drinking. I was a little buzzed. So those conversations can be fun. Some of my favorites. The one with Nate Cameron.
Yeah, I like the
Suave.
Nate one. Yeah, I think I even mentioned it on the podcast. I was like, I really like the one with Nate.
There's one. I probably shouldn't say this, but it's out there. I mean, fuck it. Anyway,
yeah, why not? Let's go.
Yeah, I did.
New year.
I did ketamine live on the podcast for the first time. Not a lot.
I missed that one.
Yeah, just a little bit. I won't say which episode though. It doesn't say which episode it is.
Don't say it because now people are going to want to go.
It was just a small amount. I'd never done before. It was awesome. I had a great time. It was a fun conversation. Then we were having drinks and it was cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of answered all of my questions.
Does it? Yeah.
I mean, I could have probably asked some more, but we're talking about Barney today, so.
No, but I've had other great conversations on the podcast too. I like Denny Skip. He's a good dude on my podcast. Most of them are musician interviews, but other people are just like a friend of mine towards the beginning of it, Mike Swantek. He's a former cop. Police officer in New Orleans, NOPD. So we talked about, and there was some really dramatic stuff that happened, or really intense stuff he was talking about. So that's pretty interesting. It had nothing to do with music other than, he's passionate about music and he played it when he was a kid and stuff and was in like garage bands. But, at some point he chose a path that was, just different. We went to college together. He was a couple years ahead of me at Loyola. You were a few years behind.
Right. Forgot we're also Loyola.
That's right. Yeah. So he did criminal justice and, went to the police force for 10 years and then became a teacher. And so he's got a lot of things, and we don't always agree on, various viewpoints or stuff, various aspects of maybe politics and, I don't know. Those policies, I would say. But at the same time, there's many things that we do agree on, and it's important to see the humanity in somebody else that you don't always,
Preach.
So.
Humanity 2024.
I mean, we're still friends. I hung out with him on Thanksgiving. He was very kind to have me over. Him and his girlfriend, they had made a bunch of food for this party they had earlier in the day, and I came out later when I was just doing my own thing for Thanksgiving. So.
Okay.
So these people, those things are great. I'm sure there's other great conversations on there that are really fascinating that I'm not remembering in this moment. But the ones that are a lot of fun. Oh, my friend Nick. He was in a traumatic motorcycle accident in Costa Rica, and that's a really heavy one. Nick Esposito. You guys should listen to that because it's fucking awesome. His near-death experience, and then the recovery process from the brain injury and the trauma, and there's infection, and then it's a harrowing tale.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. So it's his brother is one of my best friends, and Nick's one of my best friends too. But his brother and I hang out a lot back in Pennsylvania, so we kind of did a round table. It was the two of them.
Pennsylvania? You from Pennsylvania?
I'm from outside of Philadelphia. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird. Only because Theo, my boyfriend's also from Pennsylvania. I don't really had this conversation.
Where is he from?
He's from York.
Oh yeah, I know where roundabouts were. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from near Westchester.
Okay. Gosh.
Yeah.
I want to have a conversation with all of y'all. Because I feel like all y'all came from Pennsylvania to New Orleans and stayed.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's just like, because I've been to Pennsylvania, and I'm like, okay, I like it up here, but I kind of like it New Orleans better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always I'm just curious. I want to have like a conversation with all my Pennsylvanians about what it is about New Orleans that like keeps you stuck. When did you come to New Orleans?
Fall of 2007. So I've been here 16 years.
Oh my gosh.
College. Loyola.
Yeah, you were here right after Katrina, basically.
Yeah.
And you were here for the Super Bowl.
I was, yeah. The streetcar didn't run all the way uptown, all the way to Carrollton on St. Charles. It didn't run all the way. There were still a lot of lights out, like traffic lights that weren't working. Fall of 2007 is when I started.
Wow. Well, you're basically.
I've been here a long time.
You've been here very, very
almost
long
half
time.
my life, yeah. It's been my entire adult life. I came here as 19. 18, I turned 19 in August.
Wow. Well.
So, no, I was an older kid for, the grade, so.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, that's awesome.
Thanks. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's start talking about Barney a little bit. I mean, we can definitely dabble back into like just New Orleans. Like,
sure.
It probably will come back. Let's be real. Before we actually start, because there's a lot of y'all that, I mean, I don't know. There might be some of y'all that don't even know what Barney is. But I hope at some point most of my audience knows what Barney is, who Barney is, and what Barney represents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for folks that don't, I'm just gonna give you a quick little fact check. And this is all from Wikipedia, so I mean, I guess take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if you want. I don't know. I will leave the references and everything in the bio or my description. I can't talk today. All right, Barney premiered in August of 1988.
Same when I was born.
Same year Steven was born.
No, same month too.
Same month?
Yeah.
Oh wow! So are you a Leo?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, cool. And it premiered not as Barney and Friends, it premiered as Barney and the Backyard Gang.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember Barney and the Backyard Gang.
I do.
I remember it, but I remember Barney and Friends more because I think the Backyard Gang in general just didn't last very long.
Correct, yeah. It was like through 91 or something, and it was video series. But that I'm so young. We figured out 3 years apart? 3, 4-ish? You were a freshman when I was a senior?
Yeah, about 3-4 years.
Okay,
something like that, yeah.
And so I had those VHSs. The one, it was direct to video, these original Barney ones.
Backyard Gang? You had the Backyard Gang ones?
Yeah, that's how I know the original dark purple Barney. Not Barney and Friends. So when you were like, we're talking about Barney, I was like, well, I didn't really watch it beyond that, and there was like the baby.
So you know, like the OG Barney, because I had those, like not the scary Barney. Because I called him the scary Barney because he looked scary to me.
I guess in comparison to the the friendlier, more Disneyfied version. Almost.
The more Disneyfied.
Yeah, Muppetized. Yeah. Sure. Those characters. I remember there's like a Christmas episode and there's a camping episode and there's a few. I think they talk about that on there. So you're reading the description. Keep going.
Yeah, back to the facts. See what I'm talking about. So you know more about Barney than you are. I always thought of it, at least those first 4 years or 3 years. I don't know. Can't count right now. I always found them to be more adventure based than like. Because the newer Barney, or at least the one that a lot of people know about, it's like in a classroom setting. So there was like more educational themes in those. But from what I do remember the Backyard Gang ones, I remember it not really having a setting. Maybe it did, and I just don't remember.
No, they were all. You're right. It evolves to like there's like a classroom setting and like a kind of a playground. There's like a home base situation. The originals took place in different spots. They were just like they go camping.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't go camping again in the same spot. There's a camping episode.
Yeah, it's always
like a Christmas episode that's at someone's house or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Each one was a self-contained, I think, concept.
Right. And just so y'all know, the classroom, I'm looking over here like they can see me on that camera. They can't. They can see me here. Also, y'all, check out YouTube because this is fun. That's right. Sorry for those listening. We're pointing at cameras and being silly. Yeah, so check them out. The classroom style Barney one that we all know about premiered in 1992. And like I was saying, it's more educational.
One you all know about.
The one that I would say that. Well, you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure.
You're
the,
right.
The one that ran until 2015, that most people, or whatever it was, till 2010 or whatever it is, that most people know about. You're absolutely right.
That's the one that a lot of people associate Barney with.
The 17-year run or whatever.
It was a long time. It was a long time.
It's the career of Selena Gomez.
Yeah, the career of Selena Gomez like skyrocketed right from Barney. Demi Lovato was on that too.
I think so.
Oh dang! Well, I'm gonna do a
I think so. Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, I think, are both from that. I don't know.
I think you know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. Y'all can fact check us.
Yeah. Put it in the comments.
Yeah. So okay.
We need a Jamie. We need somebody who's looking up stuff.
I know, right? Okay. You know what? I didn't even funny. This is so funny. Like this is where. I did this on purpose.
What?
That's basically where the outline for Barney ends. In general, because I know there was so many other things in my head that I wanted to talk about Barney. One thing I was thinking about within like the Barney series, something that just keeps coming up for me. We're gonna divert from Barney for a second and talk about some of the other characters. Baby Bop. Baby Bop was like. Baby Bop was probably I like Baby Bop better than Barney. Okay. Baby Bop was like their version of like not Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's Barney, right?
Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Yeah.
She was a green side Triceratops with a yellow blanket. She called Blanky, and
it's like a purple belly or something.
She had a purple belly, and she just had this real She was like the DW.
Yeah,
and Arthur.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
but like she was like the DW,
like a little sister, little troublemaker. Yeah, yeah, stirring things up.
Exactly. I don't know if you are familiar with Baby Bop's like premiere to like the audience at all.
I don't remember. Maybe Solid. I mean, I don't know.
I do.
Okay.
So there was like this concert that toured, I believe. It may have toured.
I remember this, yeah.
Okay, so there was like this concert that the kids put on. I remember them wearing like yellow t-shirts, blue shorts, and like they had the names of like the character names, like Michael and Kathy, and I forget the other one's name. It doesn't matter. The point is that like it was that concert. It was like Barney in concert, and that's where they like premiered Baby Bop for the first time. I thought it was epic. I'm gonna have to show you the video at some point. Actually, no, shoot, I might show you right now. I'm gonna look it up while we're talking.
Okay.
But it was just the way that she came out. She kind of like presented as though she was shy, and she like I think she may have had the blanket with her at that point. But like people were like the kids were like, "Come outside, Baby Bop." And she's like, I'm scared of all those people. And then she comes out and then she like gets comfortable with the audience and then she starts dancing and like, but like she's not dancing for the kids. She's dancing for the adults.
Okay.
And I don't know. It was like one of the best moments in like children entertainment history.
Yeah, I remember the concert stuff and there's a video of that. Yeah, I'm sure that might have been something we had.
Baby Bop first debut.
Whatever. Yeah.
Boom!
There it is.
They called it Baby Bop Street Dance. There she go. Oh damn.
It's just my finger. It was my finger. It's my finger. I do vaguely, and you nailed the yellow shirt and the blue shorts.
I'm a photographic memory person.
I remember this. I do remember this. It's a dance, and she's.
Okay, I know too much.
I do remember this. I must have had this video too. Yeah, it's like I mean it's not like sultry dance per se, but it is definitely more of it's a dance. It's choreographed.
As a child, I was like, "Ooh, Baby Bop, you can't do that in church."
Yeah, there's some things that where she's like,
Yeah.
Interesting.
But like that was Baby Bop's like debut on stage, and then she became part of the cast when they started filming for that season.
It's pretty interesting, this, there's somebody in that costume that's doing things and like had to choreographed and be in the costume. They probably can't see very well.
Yeah.
It's like in like the Ninja Turtle movies. They're all in costumes and doing backflips. You're like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like how the fuck
did they do that? Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, Baby Bob, like, underestimated best person in the children's spectrum. Okay, maybe not, but I don't know. I really... Baby Bob needs her own show. So, speaking of inside of the costumes, David Joyner, the guy that was in the Disney-fied Barney.
Yeah.
He follows the podcast.
He does?
I'm hoping that he listens so he can come on the show and talk a little bit about the experience. But I'm just...
he was in the suit, I think. That's really wild. Cool.
So in the documentary, I Love You, You Hate Me, that came out back in like 2020, last year, 2022, or sorry, for y'all, it's 2 years ago.
Because we're in the past.
Yeah, we are in 2024. There was a whole little segment about like, they were trying to find like a Barney for this newer Disney-fied season or whatever, and David came in and like basically just kind of blew them away. And I don't know. I would think I personally have never done anything where I've had to be like inside of a suit of any sort, even like a Disney character. Like I have never had to do that, but I think it might be kind of fun to like interview someone. Maybe not even David, but like anybody that's been in like one of those suits, even like like Pelicans or. Yeah,
then basically a cheer person, mascot kind of person. Yeah,
anyone that's been inside of a mascot costume.
I've never done that either. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, like the people at Disney, who are like in the Mickey Mouse. They're not Mickey Mouse, but they're still like autographing for the kids and stuff, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Must get hot.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Mickey Mouse, sorry, we're kind of diverting a little bit. This is another fun fact about myself that maybe not everybody knows, but people that know me for a while. Because people ask, because I'm a performing artist, people always ask me, what is your most, what's the role you want to do the most? Like, what's your most favorite role? What's your dream role? Blah, blah, blah. And it's a role I will never be able to play. It is Disney's Fantasmic. I want to play Mickey Mouse.
Why couldn't you do that?
Because I'm too tall. Mickey has to be like...
Is that a requirement?
Yeah, because the costume.
I guess that makes
sense. You
have
to be short enough to fit the Mickey costume.
I was going to say, with the Fantasmic, though, that's such a, the audience is pretty far away from that.
You're right.
I wonder what the height requirement is specifically for that.
Well, I got a lot of Disney friends.
You should look it up.
Me.
Yeah,
maybe I should look it up, but I really
No, you have to not write this. I just meant in general.
I'm going to find out, because maybe I can't make my dreams come true.
I was going to say, why not? The only limitation is you impose on yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep you around, Steven. Like, see, sometimes I just be like, oh, no, I'm not gonna do it anymore, and then that's sad. But you're like, no.
Yeah, I know people who've worked for Disney.
I do too. I know people.
Of course, I'm sure you do. Oh wow.
I've interviewed folks that are still at Disney that still work for Disney. Oh. Shout out Christian, yay, hey girl. But
there's a Babes who did it, Emily. On the Babes did it.
Yeah, I actually haven't interviewed Emily yet. But Emily's not even in town anymore. I don't think.
I don't know.
But yeah, she's in like Disney
China or something.
Tokyo.
Which
I want to go. Actually, they have like the best Fantasmic.
Oh really?
They do. I've been.
How do you know?
Okay, Steven, here we go. So especially during the pandemic, I had a lot of time on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And even before then, the first time I ever experienced Disney Fantasmic, if anyone, people who have not been to Disney World or don't know of Fantasmic, you may know the movie Fantasia or Fantasia 2000. I forget the name of it.
There's both of them. There's two of them.
It's the one with Mickey with the wizard hat doing the magic trick things.
Apprentice, with the broomsticks.
Mm-hmm. So they've done like a live version of that in the parks, and it's basically kind of like Mickey orchestrates different scenes, and it's like scenes of like basically Disney's best movies.
Yeah.
And it's very well done. The music is like beautiful. It's, how like there's sometimes I find it is a science to be able to make music that like really like just gets at you. Sure. They did that in Fantasmic, right? And so the first one I saw was at Universal Studios. Or was it Universal Studios? It had to be. No, Universal Studios is...
It couldn't possibly be. It must be at Disney.
It was at Disney, but like Hollywood Studios. That's
Hollywood Studios. That's it, yes. That's MGM, they called it for a while, the MGM Grand Hollywood Studios. Yeah, they've switched it.
I'm sorry.
At Disney about
it. I was like, Universal Studios, like, that's not right.
Wrong company, yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong overlords. Yeah, no.
So I saw it there. It was a high school trip, back in high school.
Oh, you were sick? Oh, that's so
I was sick. It was so bad, because I was like, I slept, because we went up there on like a charter bus, and I slept on the air conditioning like the entire time, like going out there, not knowing and not thinking. And so by the time we were there, like I was fine at first, and then like throughout the day, just walking and doing all the things, like I was
not drinking enough water and getting being a kid. And
it was bad.
Oh, that sucks.
But it's fine. I still really enjoyed Fantasmic, and I was like, this is great. And I remember maybe some years later, like that's when YouTube really started becoming a thing, and so I was like, I wonder if it's on YouTube. And it was, and I watched it again, like I had watched it for the first time at Disney World, and I was like, this is the best. And then obviously YouTube grows and grows and grows. I come back years later, there's more versions of Fantasmic that are now surfacing. So like I will go on just like a tangent.
Oh, so you've seen the Tokyo one.
I saw the Tokyo one.
What makes it that much better?
They just put so much more production value into like what Mickey is wearing. There's more in terms of the way that I find that the Mickeys, or at least the ones that they shot for Tokyo, they are a lot more animated. It could be the costume itself being easier to move around. I don't know. But just the overall quality of like watching it, it's just, it doesn't compare to this, to America's.
Okay.
Well, I'll take that back. Tokyo, I would say, is the top, but like the second would be not the Hollywood Studios, but the one in California.
Disneyland. I like Disneyland a lot.
And I think it's because they modeled Fantasmic off of the Disneyland area. Like that's where it premiered, and then they moved to Disney World, and it's so big. I don't know. It just works so much better for an intimate setting. But how do we get on the conversation of Mickey Mouse when we're supposed to be talking about Barney?
Barney, yeah. People in costumes. Childhood, I guess imprints and everything that we have with these characters.
Yeah.
Is this conversation speaking to you right now? Do you feel the self-awareness taking over your body like a real good song? I want you to make a mental note to share the Self-Aware Millennial podcast with someone you love, because sharing is caring and love is not possessive. Sorry, y'all, but y'all can't have it to yourself. But for real, y'all know how good it feels when someone shares with you, whether it's their resources, their food, their wisdom, or their spouse. Okay, well, some of us. Spread the love. Decapitalize your mind and practice the gift of sharing. And want to help us reach new audiences? Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're feeling extra giving, leave a compliment. Come on, you know you want to. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Let's kind of divert. Let's kind of get more into a self-aware millennial conversation about Barney, right?
Yeah, there's been more crooked.
Yeah. I remember having a big, like Barney was one of my big influences in terms of like my imagination.
Okay.
Like that kind of always stuck with me for some reason. Also, I was one of those kids that believed in Barney until I was in like 3rd grade, which for children, like that's
so like you believed that it was a real being?
I believed in imagining Barney with others up until 3rd grade. But then...
What do you mean?
Maybe I did believe he was a being. Maybe I didn't. I just don't... No, I did believe he was a being. My imagination was that big, like that.
Wow.
And like that I was
no kidding.
He right there. Y'all don't see him?
Wow. Wait a second. So you're watching the show and you believe that these are creatures, not pieces of felt and costume?
Correct. I was a child and I was sheltered.
Sheltered.
Not sheltered. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but I know.
I had a big imagination.
Not picking on you for any. I'm just that's awesome. There's magic to that. That's just so funny that till third grade. That's a pretty long time.
It sure was.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's just how influential Barney was to me. And I think it was just, and we can go into fully like why I feel like there was a comfort, maybe a coping mechanism of believing because of other things that I can't go on. I mean, I just check out the last episode. You will know why then. No, not the last episode. The episode before last.
You talking about Cinnamon? That one? Or no?
Oh no! This one's the one I talk about child abuse.
Oh wow.
So there was just I had to find other areas of things that I could control, and imagining and believing Barney was definitely one of them.
Okay.
So, but it kept my imagination intact. Like I have the self-aware millennial now, and like not just the self-aware millennial with like everything else I do. That's what I got from it outside of like in terms of like my imagination. I think I also like optimism. I've always had a more optimistic outlook on life. Even when I don't feel like I do, most people are like, "Oh, but you are still really optimistic." Like, I don't know. I've had that happen a lot.
Anything that stems from Barney specifically? Or that's just a part of one ingredient in the gumbo of Jay.
I think it's like I don't fully remember from Barney like any instance where this happened, but I feel like it did happen where like maybe something sad or not as like great happened, and I don't know. I feel like it's very Barney to be like, oh, well, that's okay, we'll do this instead or something, and that's kind of how I always
like escapism.
Maybe. Oh, stop it. Escapism.
Sure. It creates a, kind of a perfect, this homogenized environment that you can be. Essentially, I think that was one of the criticisms of the show.
It was very positive, yeah.
Yeah, which is, that's not a bad thing. I think, because I was reading through, because you had sent, some links ahead of time, and I didn't watch the documentary, the I Love You, You Hate Me type of thing, or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But you watched it.
I did.
Okay, and I think if I understand, it was part of the criticism that it was too cheery, too perfect. There was no conflict, no resolution type of stuff. It was just kind of this. I mean, I'm sure there was, but
I don't really
a much smaller degree.
I don't think there was. Like everything was positive the entire time.
Yeah.
It didn't even pull any Sesame Street moments where like characters died on the show and they had to like talk about it. Like they didn't do any of that. Like they were just like, oh, it's like happy go lucky the whole time. And I think for me as a child, like that was something that I was cool with.
It's really interesting. Yeah, because I think, I can understand the cynicism to that component is that, well, that's not really presenting life in a way. You're not learning any of those skills, but if it's, if it helps you, like in the escapism aspect. I gotta listen to that episode. I should have listened to that one you're talking about. I'll listen to it after. Because that can give, context to a situation for some people. Yeah. It's interesting. That, that's your... the escapism. That's where you go to for comfort.
Well, I should say, as a child, that was something that I was okay with as a child.
Sure.
I knew that getting older and growing up like that wasn't always going to be the case. But I think that's why that show, for so many baby millennials, it resonated so much because it was all positive and whatnot, and it didn't fully go into like those harder subjects just yet. It was like, okay, preserve the imagination, preserve X, Y, and Z things. And yeah, you're right, like a sense of escapism. Just for the sheer fact of like having somewhere to go that for sure you're going to be entertained, you're going to feel happier and more likely to want to keep on going, even though you're a 2-year-old child
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even know what that fully means yet.
Okay. So do you think, now here's where it gets the deeper question.
Yes.
Do you think those are, is that ultimately a positive thing? Is that ultimately a good thing? Or is it like a balm in the moment, a salve for, a temporary wound?
I think for a child, considering, and I think I can only base off my personal experience because I was already experiencing those things that you wouldn't experience outside of watching Barney, like all the negative things that can be happening around you. And so I already knew like those things were already a part of what real life was. And just trying to find a means of some safety, I should say, and like being mentally safe, and especially for a 3-4-year-old child or whatever, like parents are gonna like they love just putting a tablet in front of a child or just keeping them entertained for however long. Like Barney was that for me, and I think for my parents and whoever my guardian was, like they knew like they could turn on Barney and like go do whatever they need to do. I'm not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't. The answer, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like for a child as young as like 3-4 years old, I think that what Barney did was good.
Okay.
I can understand where there is pushback because it wasn't fully like real.
Well, sure,
but I think they allude to that.
Okay, sure, but to advocate, devil's advocate on this one, strong man, I guess the side of it. Wait, steel man. Is that those things can be really positive. These safe spaces for the imagination of a child or I think you kind of said that the magic of it. For you, it's a real person. Although, okay, so let me simplify. I have a couple other things that I can go on, but I think another connected question would then be, what is your feeling on Santa Claus then? Which a similar concept of like, okay, should kids believe in Santa Claus? How long should they do it? Is it a magic thing? Is it what is this elaborate lie?
I see.
So there's a connected.
Yes, there is.
So what I mean, because right now you probably can't see there's a Christmas tree right there in our shot. There's out of shot. I mean, and we're recording this before Christmas, so for those listening in the future, because we're in the past. Isn't this a great time capsule? Very funny. So anyway, so yeah, I guess that would be my question. What is your viewpoint on
Santa Claus?
Yeah. Specifically in relationship to kids and parents and the elaborate lie, the magic, the mystery, all those things.
I feel that. Personally, I don't think. Funnily enough, like I believe in Barney longer than I believe in Santa Claus.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't really remember when I stopped, but I also just remember like the whole concept of like even anything saying that it's real and it's not. Like I think there is. This is where we go into like. I remember a Seventh Heaven episode. First and foremost, let me go to Seventh Heaven right quick.
Jessica Biel, is that the one?
That's the one with Jessica Biel and like a couple of the other kids. But I remember the youngest kid, Jessica Biel's youngest sister. There was an episode. I don't remember much about Seventh Heaven in particular, but like this particular episode, I remembered. It was because the youngest of the sisters was like, "Oh my gosh, Santa's not real. Who else is not real? God!" And then like. And then,
a logical question, though.
Yeah, and so
I
like
the
she
same
left. Thing. Yeah, everybody asks this question, but like that's where the conversation goes when like you realize, oh, Barney's not real. Oh, then Santa Claus is not real. Oh, that means like all these other things that people are saying are real aren't actually real. Yeah. And so what is real? Because no one really, unless you have like those annoying kids that like tell you like when you're like 5 years old, Santa Claus isn't real.
Piece of shit, yeah.
Then you just eventually realize it. But then I start thinking about and this is where we start just conceptualizing it in a new way. It's like, oh, well, Santa Claus may not be real, but the principles that Santa's about and all of these things, it still stands true. And I don't know, like it just kind of gets muddy, but I don't know. It makes me think about when I have kids, like, what do I tell them? Am I just like, I mean, I guess you could just be like, because yeah, like they're still playing like Santa Claus. You be like, this person is playing Santa Claus, but this person's name is this. It's not Saint Nick. It's this or whatever. You know, like I don't know. We need to talk to some parents. What are y'all telling y'all kids right now? Especially now, like I feel like, and when we were growing up, it was not as. It was easier to kind of conceal that, but now you got social media. You got like all these other things. And
sure.
It's
yeah.
easier. It's not as easy to conceal.
Well, it's probably very easy for kids to come across somebody being like, Santa's not real. Don't you know? You know, the magic could be broken earlier. I don't know. I know my dad was really conflicted. He told me later, he's like, I hated lying to you kids. Mm-hmm. He's like, I didn't like it, but everyone else did. Your mom was into it. And it's like, you know, and it was great to see you so excited on Christmas morning. But then, I don't know. It's a conflicting thing. It's like we've created these little like lies that are good in a way. They create these happy magic moments, but they kind of get, I don't know, pulled out of proportion, you know, with the commercialism of Christmas. I mean, this is the cynicism part of it, of course. You also know that underneath every cynicist is an optimist who's a jaded optimist, you know? So I'm certainly an optimist, but I see the sides of this. I think it's hard. I don't know. If and when I have kids, I don't know if I would do the Santa thing. Because I don't want to trick them into being a good person. Yeah. Santa kind of represents this totem of you are rewarded for being good with materials.
It's just like a commercialized version of who we see, or what a lot of people see God and or Allah and whoever.
That's a great point. Yeah,
like it's just a tangible version that you can see wears a red suit and is a big guy. That's kind of how I conceptualize it. I see it just kind of like as a subset of that, really. Santa Claus being kind of like another...
Like a father figure type of thing?
Yeah. There's just no Jesus involved.
In
like the... Sorry, I'm like all over...
I was going to say, Jesus and Santa are pretty closely entwined because of Christmas, so...
You're right. Yeah, wait, wow. You're right.
Baby Jesus,
yeah.
The innocence.
Oh, man. Anyway, we were supposed to be talking about Barney, but somehow we got on Santa Claus. But no, that was actually a really valid question. With all of that.
Well, I will say this when it comes to Barney or even Sesame Street. I kind of ascribe to the Neil Postman, his phenomenal book, Amusing Ourselves to Death. I do kind of go with the idea that, you know, these entertainment programs are simply that, entertainment. And I mean, he's got a really great point about, you know, Sesame Street doesn't teach children anything but other than to like television. I think Barney could fall under that same purview.
Wait, so you think Sesame Street does that too?
I don't necessarily fully agree with that. I think that inside of that is lessons. You know, good writers can create good lessons that are meaningful or emotional, that create impact. But these lessons can also come from human interactions. There's something about looking at something on TV as you had yourself and believing something that is not real to be real.
Yeah.
Like an entity that doesn't exist. And then learning that it's not real and that crushes you in a different way later. I don't know. I recommend everyone to read this book. It's a short read. It's kind of famous. I think it's from late 80s, early 90s. Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death. It is widely impactful on a lot of people. And it's...
Love the title.
Yeah. It's about, you know, television's a new medium that up until, you know, the 50s, late 40s and 50s, like humans had never experienced the idea, aside from movies, you know, the Lumiere brothers and Train Pulling at the Station, all those things, you know, I'm talking about from the George Méliès films, basically all those early films. But before that, you know, there was no such thing as a human to perceive a two-dimensional, you know, things occurring in two-dimensional spaces. 3D, those early films that I just mentioned, Train Pulling at the Station, people screamed because they thought a train was pulling into a movie theater. This is like early 1900s, late 1800s. Yeah, George Méliès films, they thought, like there's the original animated stuff, that dinosaur thing from like 19-something, they thought they were real, that they were going to come out of the screen. Now, we look at it now and it looks crudely drawn, but their brains did all these mental gymnastics. Yeah. So as humans, I don't think we totally understand the ramifications of these like weird screen interactions out there. And our depth perception and how we like...
what do they call it? Parasocial relationships.
Oh, no, I don't... Okay.
Parasocial relationships is where okay, maybe this isn't fully what you're talking about, but like just in the general, like where you see like all your, like now you have your favorite celebrities at the palm of your hand when you see when they're like on live and stuff like that. You develop a parasocial relationship. Parasocial relationship is when you don't know the actual other person on the other side of the screen.
I always forget that's the term. Thank you. That you know them because of facial recognition and knowing their lives, and they don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you see them in public, and all of a sudden people are just like, they want to talk because they think they know you.
Yes.
Because we're triggered to be social creatures. Mm-hmm. So it's not actually that unusual for a person to want to desire to talk to the person that they think they know.
Yeah.
Really
and
well.
Coming from the other side, like I don't really have much experience with this, but like it has happened where like people, like it's kind of scary because you're like, you forget at that point that like, oh, there is someone that doesn't really know you, or like they say hello and you don't know who they are, and that sucks because I'm just like, I want to know everybody and I hate when people don't remember. Well, I personally, I take that back. I don't care if people don't remember who I am. If I'm like, you remember this, and they're like, no, I'm like, I don't care. But some people like take that in and it's like, oh, I thought that you knew me. You don't remember this conversation we had? I'm like, no. But you know, that happens and it's okay. Like it's, our brains can like remember so much.
Have you ever had somebody come up to you that saw you like in a performance or something and
yeah.
Or follows your podcast or follows you on social media?
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And somehow they know things about you.
Sometimes, but however, sometimes they'll give me like, oh, their username, and I'm like, oh yes.
Okay.
I know who you are now. But sometimes just seeing someone in person, it's not the same.
Interesting.
But it's so much. It's really fun.
I've had it happen
too. I'm I don't know. I'm Bestie 501. And I'm like, yeah, I know you.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, the parasocial, that's part of it. I mean, I just think the connections, that's certainly part of it. You know, our brains are wired in a certain way, and we make these connections with, you know, like a non-reality.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it starts to permeate our mental space, our imaginations, and our realities. The same thing with social media. You know, we're scrolling, and I think our brains are doing this like bizarre, like we're creating a 3D space, like this kind of interactive memory field that we can move through, but it doesn't exist.
No.
You know, it's not something that you can that we interacted with in the first place. Yeah. So it has this like psychedelic property to it, I think.
Yeah. I love how we're like supposed to be talking about Barney and we kind of get
We are talking about Barney.
We are. No, but I enjoy it. Like this is why I have this podcast. I just like to we have the topic, but it's like these other conversations need to also happen. Like,
sure, he's a pillar for conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally, with the Barney thing, yes, I remember watching those early ones, and I love you, you love me, we're a perfect family. Yeah. And kiss from you, don't you say? Yeah. What a great song, what a great message.
It is.
I also know that was something that I was taught in preschool that had nothing to do with television. So, but was that a good thing? I do think it is a good thing.
Yeah.
I learned on that camping one, hug a tree. Blow your whistle.
Oh yes, hug a tree. I forgot about that.
Yeah, blow your whistle, which is actually a really important skill. So what's interesting is and that's where I disagree with Neil Postman, is like there is knowledge.
Yeah,
that you gain because
there's
there
morals.
Yeah, morals or that's I mean, if you're lost in the woods, hug a tree and blow your whistle because if you're a kid, yes, because people are going to search for you. Mm-hmm. Actually, I've had friends when I was living in Colorado and they got lost in the woods on this storm came in the mountains and they were in the Rocky Mountains and they had to radio in and one of the things like don't move.
Yeah.
A moving target is way harder to hit, way harder to find than they're looking for you. Don't move.
Yeah.
So that there actually is there's a lesson. So that's the good of it.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe a lesson that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. I don't know.
There's another lesson I learned. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we can segue into this, like the music of Barney, because that's something that one of the songs about brushing your teeth. It's like how you're supposed to brush your teeth.
Oh. Okay.
They had a whole song about that and it was a bop. Okay. And then what was the other one? There was another one I was thinking of, was in my head, but they're just they had a whole bunch of life lesson songs that were really catchy. The cleanup song.
Clean up.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It made me want to clean up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like
like
when I had to clean up and like I didn't want to, they would start singing the song, and then I was like, oh yes, let me clean up.
That's great. That's great brainwashing, isn't it?
It is.
But it works. It did work. Yeah, effective. Yeah.
The music of Barney, because I was just talking about the life lessons that I got from it, but like the music of it, because I was always a musical person in general. I found myself like just, I think, learning a lot without even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like what do you call it when like you're learning music, like things that stick.
Oh, like didactic or something.
I don't know. All I know is that like I was a lot
earworms.
I don't know. No, not earworms. Did you say earworms?
Yeah, it's like a melody that gets stuck in your brain.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like pedagogy.
One of them.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, like learning music.
Pedagogy, maybe a little bit of theory in there. Okay. Just like knowing like perfect chords, because maybe they did a lot of that in the way they did the music as Barney. Okay. Like stuff like that.
So like associative like learning. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. There you go. Okay. Yes.
I understand. Oh, I see. So, like, yeah, using it as a reference point. Yeah, associate. Mm-hmm. That's pretty fascinating. So, do you think that made you like more prone to music later? Like, it seems like Barney had a big impact on you from a safe space and everything, also to like life lessons and motivation, and then later potentially music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think I was also just thinking about like how many like musical themes that I learned through Barney first, like the Ants Go Marching song. First time I heard that.
Yeah.
The Jolly Old St. Nicholas song was my first time hearing that, like through Barney. Like they kind of like introduced a lot of like well-known musical themes to like from the world into like little old 2-year-old me for the first time, and like it stuck. So that by the time like I ventured off and started like doing my own musical thing, I was like, oh yeah, I already know this. Where do I know this from? I don't even know it's Barney.
Interesting.
I probably did, but it helps.
That's pretty fascinating. See, so these cases, again, it's all subjective. There's pros and cons to everything. So, I bring up the point of like how do humans perceive television and interact with that as a medium, and also a new device of magic. It's a magic box, and we're looking at this like thing that humans, a depth perception issue thing. Our brains are constructing realities around it and amongst it and memories. But also, then there you go. You have a place that gave you comfort, the place that gave you some knowledge of some sort, that you might not have gotten elsewhere. Mm-hmm. It's easy for Neil Postman again, to say like this thing's to be taught in a classroom, or we should have hands-on, but not everyone has that opportunity, or that's very feasible in our current society. I don't know. They're both things can be true, right? We can hold all things to be true.
Yeah,
good and bad.
I love that saying. That is very true, especially when you think that you have to choose sides. I'm like, maybe you're going to. I don't know.
Everything's gray.
Yeah, everything is gray. The last thing I kind of want to talk about before we kind of close out. Now I'm thinking about it, because this is not actually like I said, the outline finished like 20 minutes ago.
We're still talking about Barney.
We're still talking about Barney, which is good. But I was thinking about this, but I also had really bad nightmares of Barney. Even though I was like also enjoying Barney, like when I was, in my waking hours, I was having nightmares about him at the same time.
Well, if you thought he was real, and you were trained, or primed biologically to avoid predators, and you think this creature's real, you probably would have nightmares about this like monstrosity with a smile and no teeth.
Yeah.
or no, he's got the teeth, but they're not like dinosaur teeth,
Yeah. I don't even remember the contents of all of my that's goofy. That's not even Barney.
Kind of sounds like that a little bit.
Yeah, they kind of sound the same.
I don't know, maybe not.
They both have very low voices. They have like a weird chuckle, which I think you just attempted. It wasn't bad.
Thanks.
But yeah, I don't know. It's funny because like I can remember it's funny, like I remember a lot of my childhood nightmares.
Really?
I do.
I remember some. Yeah. I remember some vivid ones.
I remember some vivid ones and it wasn't just Barney. It was also like the trolley from Mr. Rogers.
Really? That gave me what about that? Just the trolley itself?
Yeah. So it was kind of like the trolley was not a little toy anymore. It was an actual like full-size trolley that would come down the street.
And you live in New Orleans, where there are trolleys.
Exactly.
I didn't have trolleys where I grew up, so yeah.
Yeah. So with that knowledge already, you know, seeing them, the real ones, like when we're on Canal Street, and then like also seeing the one on Mr. Rogers, me associating the two, had bad dreams about the trolley coming down like our street and like scooping everyone up, and like I don't know what they'd be doing. Like it was something bad, but I never knew what that bad thing was. But it was like you don't want the trolley to see you so like high. But then it was like you had the big trolleys, and then like the toy trolleys would come through as well. So like if they saw you, like the small one, so you had to really find it. Like you can't hide from a small trolley. They can fit in the small places. So it's like
Sauron, you know, flying, you know, like
So it's like
messengers for the big trolley. That's really fun. That sounds like something from like a Rugrats nightmare cartoon type animated. Like the big trolley has little trolleys it sends out to spy on you and to find you, and they report back, and that's pretty. Maybe that's from something like a lost memory, right? Maybe it's from something and it became.
I don't know. All I know is that like that's one of those themes that I never forgot.
Well, you know, those nightmares in Rugrats were always really surreal.
Those
were really good, but really creepy because they were very, you know, they had that like kind of distorted perception. And I think the animation's fantastic because you know, you can distort reality in so many interesting ways in the perspective. So I remember, you know, on Rugrats, another millennial. Childhood show.
I remember this. I think I remember this particular episode you're talking about. But keep going.
There's a few of them, but there's one, and Spike's talking, and Tommy's just having these like horrible nightmares, and like, but like the floor kind of melts, and somebody, and like Stu's got like goofy head, his dad, and like the dog's talking in some mansion, and he thinks he wakes up, but he doesn't, and then you know it's like always that the double dream type of thing that they have in cartoons and movies and stuff.
But it happens in real life too. I be having those double nightmares, thinking I'm awakened and I'm not. Oh.
Yeah. So. Yeah, those things are fascinating, but yeah, that.
I know we just kind of went on a millennial nostalgia trip, but you know, millennial nostalgia is what is keeping this entire economy going on at this point. I feel.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at Disney. Look at Yeah,
like everyone's doing remakes. Even like the kids that were a part of like us growing up, like they're doing their own podcasts now, and it's like really banking in on that nostalgia.
We gravitate towards that really heavily. I think that like
we eat it up.
I think that like the romantic notion of it was better or something, it makes you the comfort of the past, and and you know I'm guilty of it as well. Or fond memories of Rugrats, or for you Barney, or for me Ninja Turtles and things like that. You know, Hey Arnold. You know what all those Nickelodeon shows and the Disney shows and all that stuff.
I wonder if it'll be like that in 20-ish years when like the kids that are younger now.
They're just absorbing. I don't know what like Steven Universe and what are some of the things that they watch. Paw Patrol,
Bubble Guppies, Paw Patrol.
Heck, is that something? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I think they're just being more subjected to our nostalgias.
Yeah.
Like we were also subjected to like boomer nostalgia, like the of that era.
Yeah, you're right. Like I was thinking about like Parent Trap and like some of those other movies that came out at that time. Like, cause those were you're right. You were so right about that. Well, wow, this was such a fun conversation.
Why do you say that very hesitatingly?
That was just now I'm thinking.
Was it a fun conversation for you?
It was a fun conversation. But like I was thinking about what you just said as I was saying it. I was like, this is fun, but like in a way that like I'm still gonna have to process this after we finish. Like
my work, I did my job.
You did, and thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I love a deep conversation, and I love like I love the devil's advocate conversation.
Well, you changed my perspective on things too. Like I said, it's not totally cynical. I look at things in a light like the remakes now.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a new goddamn IP from anything? It's just Star Wars, Disney remakes. There's live action remakes of animated. I mean, it's like, can we not have something new?
Yeah.
And there are brilliant people out there and creative, and you know, even one of the most popular shows on that has been created in recent history, Stranger Things, is just a capitalization on 80s nostalgia and like homages. Like, there's nothing new.
Nope.
We're just eating up all the same shit over and over again. As Alan Moore said, we're fish at a pond, you know, waiting for somebody to throw the food in.
I think
And some people do original things.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of original things, but they don't get nearly as much hype because it's Correct. Original.
Because it's a chance. People might not like it.
And I'm thinking about, like, I don't know, I think about the Jordan Peels of the world and, like, everything that they're doing, like, no one else is doing that. You know,
there are. Of course, there are. Of course, there's independent artists and lower level artists. A lower budget, I should say. Not that their skills aren't lower level, but their budgets and promotion, and everything. But Jordan Peele, of course, makes Get Out and was it Nope and
Nope and all the other
Us. Oh my God, that was fucking scared the shit out of me.
I still haven't seen all of them yet, but Get Out.
But you're right. You're right. Those are original new concepts, and they're exciting. But people, that's the thing. People resonated with them. So why, like, these studios are afraid to take chances. He has to start his own studio, and he has to show that you can do these amazing things.
And that there's an audience for it.
There's always an audience.
There's always gonna be an audience.
I think these big money. I know that's a cynical thing, but it's really these corporations of Disney there's a money aspect to it, and they want to make sure that their investment pays off.
Yeah.
So and they know
it could be because of I think
they make another season of Mandalorian. People are gonna sign up or whatever it is, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of Star Wars in my life. I'm good.
I can tell, and that's okay. I was not a big. I didn't do much Star Wars, but I hear enough about it through everybody else that I'm around because I have a lot of friends that are Star Wars, so I know enough to keep up.
I know that's just it. And again, I do want to get back to this idea. Like I'm not shitting on anyone's enjoyment. That's the other thing about it too. Life is totally fucking subjective. Like if something makes you happy. Like, there is no right or wrong. We could say that there's, like, Mr. Rogers, Barney, whatever. Do they have pros? Do they have cons? What are the ramifications of the Sesame Street? Whatever. Or, who gives a fuck? It made somebody really happy and they did something along the way. And these are the things, right? Like, I think that's, like, try to be the enlightened path is you look at it like, okay, neither good nor bad, just like any adult who lied to us about Santa Claus or didn't lie to us or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. No one's a monster. No one's an angel. Right?
Yes. And on that note, y'all gotta catch us. And if y'all hear this episode in enough time that y'all see us at Rivertown,
please come. Please. In New Orleans and Kenner. Well, it's in Kenner, but
yeah, Rivertown and Kenner.
But the New Orleans area for those.
Yeah, the greater New Orleans area. Like in New York, that would just be going from somewhere to somewhere. Like New Orleans is very small. Yeah. I appreciate you coming on.
Me on, Jay. I like it.
Yeah.
I really did. That was fun. I don't know if this was usual or unusual for you or
no. This was actually very much like boom, bam, boom. Like I love having podcast episodes with podcasters because like it's just.
Well, this is if people enjoy this, you can listen to my podcast, Crooked Conversations, which is very similar to this, where I talk about my ideas and thoughts, and I have other people express their thoughts, and or you can check out my band, The Crooked Vines. We're on Spotify, and also obviously the podcast is everywhere that you can look at podcasts and listen to them, and the band Crooked Vines is on everywhere you can listen to music. And I have the Aqua Squad is another little project I came up with recently with a buddy of mine back north, and Birds Aren't Real is a song we released recently, a surf rock conspiracy jam. I have to we shot videos that I haven't released yet. I just gotta edit them. I've been busy. I got stuff on my own platform under my name actually. So yeah, Steven Schwartz things up. I'm very easy to find, I think.
See? Like I didn't have to be like, so where can they find you? Just said it. Boom.
Schwartz, Steven Y. Schwartz on Instagram at Steven Y. Schwartz, and
Before we leave, because this is one question I should have asked at the beginning. But like, how do people feel about your name?
Oh, in connection with the musical Steven Schwartz, I always get that from people in the theater. I'm just like, oh, I'm V, not a PH, but yeah, they're just like, oh, how was writing Wicked? There's always the joke, and I'm just like, yay, I don't know. I like my name a lot. It's a good name.
Awesome, yeah, I know that's a great name. I was just like, wait, what?
I know, yeah, it's just funny, but.
Yeah, no, for the theater world,
Steven Schwartz is a famous,
a very
composer, songwriter, I guess, for theater,
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure to have you. Now I can say I had Steven Schwartz on.
Now you can say you had Steven Schwartz on.
Yeah.
Just, you have to say it, not spell it.
All right, well.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were finally able, and you gotta come on mine. That's what we'll have to do.
Yes, we will. Y'all will see that.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode and follow us on all the socials and subscribe to Patreon.
Yeah, do it.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.